this sort of came out of the idea that going in the flexible body and super complicated actuation was not necessarily the way to go when it came to a biomimetic underwater vehicle. And what we've done here is taken the basic turtle body shape and made some modifications to it. Primarily, if you look at the four coils that we have here, if you were looking at a sea turtle, you go online and you can look at some pictures or videos that are all over the web. You'll notice that the sea turtle generally has slightly larger forward coils and sort of paddle-like appendages in the back. Our idea here is not so much that we want to mimic nature, we'd like to learn from it. So one of the things that we'd like to do with any underwater vehicle to sort of prove that it's a working vehicle is to allow it to hover, to be able to sit in one place, to move straight up and down, forward and backwards and left and right. And it occurred to us that a much better way of doing that than to try and take this turtle shape that has only these flippers in the front. It would be a lot easier if we made it symmetric. So that's one of the things that we did, is that from left to right, forward or aft, it's symmetric. So it's a little easier to control as opposed to feet. I think probably the easiest thing to show you, and I guess some of you have seen some of the video of this, but to show you what the basic motion of the foil is to have it run for you here. Hopefully it'll go. So the motion it's going to do right now, you'll see it's sort of doing the same thing on either side of the vehicle. I can turn it a little bit. If my time is right, I can get over the rail that way. The motion that you see here, we're just be keeping the vehicle essentially in place. The coils in the back are reversed from the motion of the coils in the front. And to look a little more closely, we've set this up so that it wants to swim to about 2 meters depth. Now, because it's out of the water, it thinks it's right at the surface at 0 depth, so it's trying to submerge itself. And the way it's doing that, if you look at the motion of this coil in the front here, you can see that on the way up, it puts a very broad face of that coil to the water, and on the way down, it feathers. So it's sort of the way it's structured. To do the reverse, it would simply do a motion something like this. It's one of the great advantages of foils, although it is a little more complicated to visualize how it will generate the sort of thrust that you can imagine with a repulsor. You just turn the repulsor with a foil. You don't have to turn it all the way around. You can, in the course of a single stroke with a very smooth motion, you can almost instantaneously reverse the force that you get. But it can be very difficult to sort of intuitively understand exactly how that works. So that's sort of the challenge and the benefit of it at the same time. To make this thing swim forward, I don't think I can show you at the moment easily, but to make it swim forward, you actually just bias the twist angle of this coil slightly downward, so that on the way down and on the way up, there's the same angle to the flow, so that it's the force in the vehicle works directly in this direction. The force from the leading coil will be pointing up and pointing down, but always pointing slightly forward. So you get a motion, a sort of force that's going to drive you a little bit like this. Because of the mass of the vehicle, you don't actually see as much of that up and down motion as you might expect. One of the things that we were aiming for with this vehicle was to sort of make it a working size vehicle. So this is typical of some of the autonomous underwater vehicles you might see, possibly a little bit smaller, such as the Odyssey vehicle over at Sea Grant, one of the first sort of really usable autonomous underwater vehicles. It's about a third of the size of Abe, which is one of the pioneering vehicles down at the Woods Hole oceanographic.